Are you ready to quit your job and go all in on a business? You might say yes to that question if you don't have a mortgage or kids or a life that actually depends on a paycheck. But if you do have those real life responsibilities, like most of us, it probably feels irresponsible or reckless, maybe even selfish. And yet, that's often how business ownership gets framed: burn the boats, quit your job, then figure it out. It sounds bold, but it doesn't sound like bravery to me. It actually sounds like a recipe for failure. And I say that because I've had a front row seat to more than 35,000 people becoming business owners through our work at Guidant. And I've seen what happens when people barrel forward without being thoughtful about finding the right business and proving it actually works. But I've also seen something else. I've seen a lot of different ways owners have moved towards business ownership without blowing up their lives. Ways where they've protected their income and responsibilities while building something meaningful, ensuring they have a business that can support them before they start closing their doors, like quitting their job. Now, I want to walk you through 5 common paths I've seen to ownership with a paycheck, including at least one real life story for each. Now, none of these paths are perfect. They all involve trade offs, and you'll have to decide if or which one might make sense for you. But before we get into them, there is one trade off they all share. If you want a safer path to ownership that lets you keep the security of your current income while you build something new, it's going to involve a season of extra effort. It's like getting a second job, except that second job is actually multiple jobs. The people willing to put in that extra effort for a season generally end up better off in the long run. If the business doesn't pan out, they have a job to fall back on. But if it does prove sustainable, they've created a way out of their current job that doesn't involve jumping without a parachute. So let's dive into the 5 paths to ownership with a paycheck. Number 1, the side hustle path. Ashley Nichols didn't quit her job and hope her new franchise was going to work out. Instead, she built this robust spreadsheet and picked a target. She knew once she hit that specific number of students in her business that it would be able to support her financially. Now, it wasn't easy getting there. She had to work her day job, raise a 3-year-old, and get a franchise off the ground at the same time. But that approach bought her time to learn, time to adjust, time to build the confidence without constantly worrying about whether she could take care of her daughter. Number 2, the buy an existing business path. Josh Danish took a different approach. Instead of building income from scratch, he bought an existing business that could actually pay him from day one. Now, it was more expensive to buy a proven profitable business, but it was also far less risky. Josh still had to put in a bunch of effort during the first year to learn the business, build the right team, the one that was aligned with his values and his vision. The difference was that he could focus fully on the business because he was getting paid immediately to manage and grow it. Number 3, the side project path. T.A. McCann didn't even start with a business. He just started with curiosity. He was bored in his day job, and so he set up a weekly coffee with a friend to explore business ideas. He carved out 4 hours a week to test those ideas and used the weekly coffee to share insights and decide what to explore next. Now, over time, that exploration turned into a prototype. That's when T.A. and his friend made a pact. If they could get 5 paying customers, they'd quit their day jobs and go all in. Well, that weekly coffee turned into a successful business that was eventually acquired, changing the trajectory of T.A.'s life. And the side project has since become his preferred path to finding new ideas. He's now used it to co-found more than 5 other companies. Number 4, the bridge job path. Heather Wilson was unhappy in her banking job, which led her to enroll in this multi-week business planning course to explore what kind of businesses she might start or buy. And she looked at several ideas, but ultimately chose a bridge business, a mobile notary company. This was easy for her to see how, with her banking contacts and her skill set, she was going to be able to generate enough income to cover her expenses. And after a few years of running that business, managing her own schedule, getting comfortable being responsible for her own income, she felt ready to move into the business she was actually drawn to from the get-go. And that's when Heather purchased a laundromat, running it alongside the notary business. Now, over time, the notary work shrank as the laundromat grew. Another example is Bill Dosher. When Bill launched his business, a top-level domain called .buzz, he also took a new job at a university. This job provided him solid income, flexibility, allowed him to put more focus on growing the business. That flexibility mattered because scaling .buzz was way harder than Bill expected. It took him 6 years to be ready to leave the university and go full-time. And without that job, it's likely he would have run out of personal runway and walked away. Today, Bill runs a business he loves and jokes that it prints money while he sleeps. And our final, number 5, the partner path. I've seen the partner path show up in 2 forms. The most common is when one spouse leaves their job to build the business while the other stays employed to maintain a consistent income. That's what Phil and Catherine Ernst did. Catherine left her job to start their first bakery and cafe that served people with gluten and dairy sensitivities. Phil supported the business on nights and weekends until it reached a point where he could quit and help scale it. But partnerships don't have to be between 2 spouses. Robin Taylor got a call from an old colleague, Paul. And Paul had come across a franchise opportunity he believed in, but he wasn't in a position to quit his job. He needed the income. Robin, on the other hand, had recently been laid off. And since Paul trusted her ability, he asked her if she'd partner with him and run the business day to day. She said yes, and a successful partnership was born, one that allowed Paul to keep the security of his job while building a business asset through ownership. And that's it. Those are the 5 paths I've witnessed in 2 decades of helping people become business owners: the side hustle path, the buying existing business path, the side project path, the bridge job path, and the partner path. They won't work for everyone, but they do show there are many ways to move into ownership without burning the boats and quitting your job on day one. That's ownership with a paycheck. If you got value out of this video, please like it, send it to someone you think it might help. Now, I usually close out these videos by saying don't quit your daydream, so don't quit your daydream, and know that you don't necessarily have to quit your day job either. At least not until you have the proof points that give you the confidence to go all in. Cheers, y'all.